What's up, people? I am back for another video. Today we are reviewing Terrifier 2, but before I get to that, we'll be reviewing The Substance tomorrow. So, but the plan is, before I get into Terrifier 2, I'm gonna get into a quick little mini review because I'm gonna be honest with you, this movie doesn't deserve a full video. Fuck this movie. I will be doing a quick discussion on Joker 2. I'm not calling it by its title. This movie was a piece of shit, fundamentally. It takes what the first one did and bastardizes it. Arthur doesn't matter. He basically, like, you know how in the first one, he has everything thrown at him. Like, yeah, life sucks, but it's like, but as a viewer, like, you're like into the movie, like, it sucks, but it's not done just to shit on him. It's just done to tell a story. In this, it is just done to shit on the character fundamentally. Like, he gets raped. They don't show it, but there's a very heavy, I think they do say it. And yeah, he does. They don't show it, but they do. He gets raped by a couple of guards. Lady Gaga basically breaks up with him towards the end because, spoiler, after the big courtroom scene, which just was it's not really a musical. They talk, sing, so they oversold that. If they just, I don't understand, and the fact that this movie's getting, everybody hates this movie. I don't. This is one of those movies where even the shills, who usually like everything, even have to acknowledge this movie's dog shit. Like, it's doing worse than The Flash. It got a worse, and I don't usually care about cinema score. I don't usually mention that shit. But the fact that it got a worse cinema score than fucking Madam Web. Madam Web got a C. This got a D. This is an F to me. This movie is just a fuck you to the first one. Not just a fuck you, it destroys it. I'll spoil it. In the end, basically, the leaked ending, which came out days ago, was true. Joker... Oh, Arthur Fleck's not actually the Joker, by the way. The person who stabs and kills him is supposed to be the Joker, because there's the part of it, you see him cut his face with the knife, which is supposed to, like his lips. Like, if you remember Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight, which I will be talking about on Tuesday, he cuts his face, like, in that kind of style. That's clearly supposed to be the Joker, and even the way he's laughing, that's clearly supposed to be the Joker. Like, the actual Joker. So, Arthur Fleck, all that setup, he's not the actual fucking Joker. You get a kind of a little cool animation in the start of the movie, which I'll admit that was kind of cool, but everything else sucked. Joaquin Phoenix, I guess, did okay acting-wise, but just this movie, there's a part of me that just kind of hopes that Todd Phillips did this because he didn't want to do the sequel, and that but there's a part of me that really thinks he did it because he saw that, I don't know, right-wing, quote-unquote, chuds, or people, I guess, on the quote-unquote conservative side, which is retarded. No, everyone loved the first movie, but I guess he felt like he got the quote-unquote wrong message out of it, so they changed it, and this is what you get. And that's more what I think happened than the second one, the first option. I really would love it to be the first one, but because this one's a fuck you to the first one, to the point it destroys the first one. It makes the first one just pointless now. Like, to the point I'm probably not going to go back and watch it now. It really retroactively destroys the first one, because it's a fuck you to the first movie, to where, not just a fuck you, it literally makes the first one pointless. What was all that journey for him to become the Joker when he's not even actually the Joker? The real Joker just kills him, and he just bleeds out and dies, and then I think it morphs into like a musical, and then he dies. That's it. Fuck this movie. What a pile of shit. And that is why I didn't want to do a whole video on it. I was like, I originally did plan on reviewing it, but I was just like, nah. I'm actually happy I decided to do it this way, because I still wanted to talk about it, because don't go see this movie. If you really want to protect, I don't know if maybe you'll have the same reaction I did, but if you, let's say you do, if you want to avoid that, just watch the first one. Don't watch this one. There's no reason to. It's a little fuck you to the first one. It doesn't add anything. Todd Phillips continues his bad trends with sequels. He can't do sequels. This one is it's just like a fuck you to the first one, but like literally. I saw someone put this comment and it's very true. If you remember the South Park episode where Indy literally gets raped by George and Steven, like that episode. This movie's literally that. Todd Phillips literally does that because there's a scene where Joker gets raped. It's not on screen, but it's implied. Come on, man. Why the fuck would I want to see that? Man. So, that's really all I gotta say. Fuck this movie. Easily, if The Crow did not come out this year, The Crow reboot, this would be my worst movie of the fucking year, but The Crow's still there. It still pissed me off a bit more. This would be up. This is up there. That's like number 2. This even beats Borderlands. At least in Madam Web. At least Madam Web I laughed at. You know, this was just a piece of shit. Fuck this fucking film. So, there you go. But anyway, to the actual review. Today, I am reviewing Terrifier 2. We're going on with the second film since the third one's scheduled to come out this coming Friday, the 11th. So I figured why not go back and review the second one. I actually remember wanting to review this at the time because I saw this in theaters back in 2022. And man, this one is really fun. And that's probably what I'm going to title the video, Bloody Good Time. Bloody something. Like bloody fun, bloody good time, something like that. Because that's really what this was. I would say this isn't for normies if you don't like quote unquote torture porn but for me a lot of the violence for me goes, especially in this one, there is some that does get me. But then on this rewatch there was someone like this one's so some of the violence is so, especially the scene in the store where he kills the clerk, stabs him in the eye with a bottle, and is like a lot of the kills in this are probably a bit more over the top. Whereas the first one, I do think there's a little bit realism to the first one. This one, I'd almost argue, was a bit more, not gonna say comedy, like for sure it's not, but it's more obvious. I think some of the kills are so over the top that it doesn't feel as. There's one kill though that does get me. That's like, ooh, when he stabs Brooke's boyfriend. That's a friend of the main character, Sienna. Who she kind of like. This one actually has a bit of a plot. Art wakes up, kind of like I think it's supposed to be the same night as the first film. Kills a bunch of people at this. I think it's supposed to be like a doctor's office or something like that. Oh no, at the morgue because he wakes up. Yeah, he wakes up at the morgue because this is when he got brought in. If you remember at the end of the first one, kills them, and then starts following this. Girl named Sienna, who she has nightmares about because her brother is in. She actually wanted to be art for Halloween. The only real problems I have with this film, it is a bit too long. I do think there's some parts where I'm like, this is just filler. This film didn't need to be 2 hours, over 2 hours. I think it's like 2 hours and 18, something like that. You could have trimmed this down. I'm a slasher fan, but I don't think slashers should go past 2 hours. I think this film, you could have made it obviously longer than the first one. The first one's like only an hour and 24. You could have made this just, I think, cut 30 minutes. Really? I think you cut 30 minutes. You could make this an hour and a half to maybe an hour and 40, max 2 hours, but I really think hour and a half. I don't think Terrifier needs to be that long. Because I do think there are some points where it is a bit too long at times. And there was just some, like, I didn't need a billion scenes of the mom yelling at her son. I think there were some scenes I'm like, I didn't need that. Or some of the scenes at the dance, the Halloween dance, which this is a Halloween film too, so. You know, the scene of the Halloween dance where Sienna's there and she gets into it, her and her friend get into it with some guys, like that, you could have cut that down a bit. I didn't really care to see them at the party. But I do like they attempt to get a story, because they had this little pale girl. They had like lore with this sword. The only thing I didn't really love, and I didn't love it the first time either, I didn't care for Sienna's costume, and I get it. It's a thing from her father's drawings, which we'll probably get more in the third film, but I get what the costume was going for, but it did feel a little. I saw a comment say, like, Xena, and it did. At least it's Halloween, though, so there's at least an explanation. And the actress plays Sienna, Lauren Lavera, I think. I could be getting her last name wrong, but I know it's Lauren something. She's really good. I thought she was pretty solid in this. The rest of the actors are serviceable. I mean, you can tell this is a bigger budget, because even with the cameras, like, the way it's shot, you can tell it's a higher-end camera they used compared to the first one, which clearly looked like a straight-up fan film. This one actually looks like a movie a little bit. And art's great. He's my favorite part of the movies. And he gets much more character in this film than he does in the first one. A little bit. He's a bit... That scene where he kills her friend. Her other friend. Not Brooke, but the other one. Amy, I think is her name. He, like, cuts her. He was, like, scalping her while she was alive. That shit was fucked to watch, man. I'm not gonna lie. So it's a mix. There are some kills that are legit scary, but then there are some for me that I'm like, okay, this is just over the top. And it still works. But yeah, this is a great film. Well, not great, but this is a good, nice return to old school slashers. I said this in the last video. I think the only thing that keeps it is some of the gore for a lot of normies would turn them off. Because Friday the 13th's not gory. Even like Texas Chainsaw, the remake's not as gory as some of the stuff that happens in this film. Especially the second one. So I can understand. That's like the only thing I feel like would turn off normies is how much of the violence. Because some people just don't like excessive gore. That's just how some people are. You know, or they don't. Some people might look at this as like torture porn, like Hostel or fucking. I don't. I would more like this is a slasher, but I guess because some of the gore is over the top, that if they could be, some would see it as just excessive gore and just torture porn or in that kind of realm. So overall, though, this is definitely I would give it like an 8 out of 10 film. This is a fun in the theater. The audience was into when I watched it. A lot of the kills in the first time a bit more gory for me, because even as someone who loves gore, there were some kills that got me. This time around, not as much, because some of the kills I was like, yeah, this is a bit more over the top, and you could tell like where it's not as scary. But the one where he stabs the dude in the dick, that fucking got me. I'm not gonna lie. Even though I had fun with the kill at the costume store. So overall, though, fun film. I would recommend it if you're a person who likes horror. I don't think I can just recommend this to normies if you just want to try to get. If you're just getting into horror, I don't think Terrifier is the film you start with. That's one. If you're really into slashers, give it a year or two, however long, of being a slasher fan. And if you can start handling more and more crazy gore, then eventually do the Terrifier films. But I feel like if you're not into horror, if you're just getting into it, I don't think I would recommend Terrifier. You got to build up to that. But yeah, Terrifier 2 for me personally was fun. It was a nice throwback. And the funny thing was, this came out the same year as the Halloween fucking Ends. And this is a better Halloween film than this film was. Than that film was. This felt more like Michael Myers in this film than he did in Halloween Ends, in all of Halloween Ends. It's insane how bad it was. So that's the other reason I really like this movie. Like, it came out perfect time, because this was like a couple of weeks before Halloween Ends came out, if I remember, or like a week or two, something like that. They weren't that long apart. So yeah, overall, love this film. So tomorrow, the plan is potentially 2 videos, maybe 1, and we'll see. Main video, I'm going to be reviewing The Substance, which was really fucking good. Really good body horror, which I will be talking about tomorrow with Demi Moore. Probably the best, like, kind of body horror in a long fucking time. And really well acted and all that, so I'll be talking about that tomorrow. I'm going to try to do that, like, tomorrow, like, either morning or, like, afternoon, like, early tomorrow, like, sometime during the day. And then in the evening, I'm going to try to see if I can find a Screen Rant article. and maybe we'll try to roast it. But obviously, if that doesn't come up, then if I can't find anything to talk about, we'll just do the substance video. So there's a chance I might just do the substance. We'll see. And then Monday we will do. Finally, I'm thinking about doing the Killers game. I don't think I need to watch it again because I still relatively watched it a couple of weeks ago, so I still remember it. So I do want to review that, so we can just finally get that reviewed because I've wanted to review that for a while, and I just didn't get around to it. So, anyways, guys, let's get into Terrifier 2. So, pretty much the movie picks up where the first left off, where he wakes up because he's woken up by the little pale girl, kind of just starts killing everyone in there, which this scene is pretty gory. Like, when the guy's trying to call the cops and Art's just killing him while he's on the phone is pretty brutal. And man, I remember like the start of this, a lot of people were grossed out. I mean, obviously, I'm a gore guy, so I can generally handle most gore. But there's, like I said, there are moments in this where it got me a little bit, like especially that first time I watched it. And he fucking kills everybody pretty much there, which I thought was a perfect opening. I just love his little trash bag. And we apparently years 2018, we get a cameo by Felissa Rose, I think is her name. She played she was the girl in Sleepaway Camp. She was the reveal. Angela, I think is her name. Angela, I couldn't think of her name. Angela from from the first Sleepaway Camp. She makes a little cameo as like a teacher because we follow a little bit of Sienna's brother, who, he's just an edgy kid, essentially. That's really all his character is. I will say, I didn't really feel like he was needed. Obviously their dad knows Art, or he's tied to Art. I've heard the theory Art is their dad, or that theory. But like you could tell they tried, like even this one, like they have an actual final girl now, because the first one really didn't. Like it kind of happened to be a final because Victoria, after her experience with Art, went fucking crazy, because there's a scene where you do see her later, but then there's a scene you see her again. Because you see her like on TV because Art's watching her and he's like laughing at her. But then in the end, after his death, I think it's a post-credit scene or mid-credit scene where Art, she's in like some mental institution and she's writing, like she has blood on the walls, and she's like writing Vicky and Art plus Art. So it's implied like she's starting to fall in love with him, like kind of deal. But yeah, so Art kind of torments Sienna throughout the film. I'm just gonna jump around because the movie, like I said, there's weird pacing. Like the scene where the kid, where I'm just gonna call him Sienna's brother because I don't remember his name. I'll be honest. The scene where he shows like that girl, the dead possum. I didn't need that scene. Like I said, I like this film, but a big criticism. You really could have definitely cut it down. It did not need to be over 2 hours. I don't think a slasher should be that long. I'm not one who complains about long films. I like long films if it makes sense. I just think with certain genres, you should I don't think a comedy you should really be over 2 hours unless it's something like Tropic Thunder had a lot of characters and good performances, and there's more of a story, so I can understand that being 2 hours. But most general comedies shouldn't be 2 hours. Same with slashers. Slashers, to me, at most should be 2 hours. Like the first streams, the second stream, sorry, is 2 hours. But it doesn't feel like 2 hours. It feels more like an hour and 50. That's at most. Like the first stream is an hour and 50 minutes. I think that's kind of like that's a perfect length for a slasher, or an hour and a half. You know, I get it. You want to make it a bit longer than the first one. He wanted to do something more with this one, clearly, Damien Leone, compared to like what he did with the first one. But I just don't think it needed to be over 2 hours. I just think a slasher should not. Sorry, my back's being weird. I just don't think a slasher should be over 2 hours. I just think that's too much at that point. And like I said, there's just some scenes that I just felt like were filler. You know, like the scene with the brother at the school, besides the one where he sees the little pale girl when he starts seeing her. That scene at least adds, because he's starting to see stuff. But some of the scene when he tries to talk to his mom, I could have cut, or you could have cut that down. I didn't need a lot of just the scenes where she's just yelling at him. That just felt useless. But she goes to the costume store with her friend. Before that, she dreams about Art the night before. And I'll admit, this scene was fun, even though it's just there to be trippy, but it was still fun. I really, definitely dug this scene as a visual trip-out scene. And then she wakes up, I think something happens, and I think her area gets caught on fire, but obviously a small little fire, but the only thing not damaged was that sword, which she ends up using for her costume, because she finds a picture. I don't know if it's like her dad's, not obviously his guy, so you wouldn't call it like journal. I'll call it journal, or drawings or whatever, because he has a drawing of her daughter. I don't know if that's supposed to be his daughter. It's a woman in like this art armor that she ends up using for her costume later on. I do like that they give her character, and you can already tell, like, you could tell, like I said, Damien Leone wanted to do more. Like, he has a final girl now, because I think she's coming back for 3 too, so this is actually a legit continuation. That's why, like I said, that first one's more of a concept than an actual film, because I think he wanted to, like, perfect the concept so he can now do what he did with this one. And so she goes to the store, the costume store, and Art starts harassing her in front of the clerk. So she kind of gets freaked out and just runs out. And then Art puts the store, you know, has like those open and close signs. So he puts it closed, kills the clerk pretty brutally, like stabs him in the eye, slams his head with a hammer. Like, it's pretty violent how he goes. So yeah, he kills him. And then I think the daughter, Sienna gets ready for like I think it's like a Halloween dance or something like that she goes to. While this happens, her brother, you know, is at home with their mom, and I think he kind of starts seeing Art. While Art ends up starting to kill, he ends up killing her friend, the friend that was at the store, not the one you see later, because there's another friend that Sienna hangs out with, but the one that was at the store with her, because he posed a trick-or-treater. And I'll admit, this scene's fun. It is very violent, though. This is one of the kills that I will say is fucking crazy, because he scalps this girl while she's still alive. There's some kills she's still alive for. He like chops her into pieces, basically. Like, after he's done, you see her brain, but she's still alive. Her, like, this part of the arm's gone, and it's crazy. And then he comes back and then just starts pouring salt on her, and it's like, god damn. And then he, you know, kills her, then kills her mom, and then uses her head as a you know, because it's Halloween, so he uses her head as like a thing to put candy in. So the kids think it's just a Halloween decoration, just really realistic. So after that, I think the son runs off because he gets into it with his mom, which you could have cut this scene out. And then there's random scenes of the mom getting drunk. Like I said, I like this movie, But I do think like scenes like that, I'm like, you could cut. There's no reason this needed to be over 2 hours, just because it seems like that. But when it does get over, because her friend Brooke, because she wanted Sienna to calm down, um, had slipped, basically drugged her, slipped some LSD. I think it was LSD, something like that, into her, or acid. I think it was acid. Yeah, it was that LSD into her drink so she can calm down, and she starts tripping out. And then that's when, while this is happening, she starts to see the pale little girl, and she freaks out for real. And then they leave. She's getting ready to take her back home, and then they meet up with Brooke's boyfriend. I'll be honest, I don't remember this guy's name either. While this happens, Art kills Sienna's mom with the shotgun pretty brutally. Like, I remember, like, because like he writes like hoe or bitch something on her car to make it think it's the son. And and then yeah, she's like wiping it off, and then he wipes the window and then pulls the gun and shoots her. So pretty brutal. Like, one thing that is creative, that to have a slasher villain actually use a gun is pretty fucking interesting. But as a gun, not just like how Michael does it, because he's killed people with a gun a couple of times now, where he doesn't use the gun, he impales them with the gun. Like in Halloween 4, he stabs a guy into a wall with the shotgun. I'm not kidding you, he does that. So it's like, in this, it's interesting to see a killer use a gun and shoot people. That's like a take. Yeah, he's not going around shooting people because it's a double barrel. So probably doesn't have a lot of ammo. And the way I see it, Art likes to torture people, so he probably prefers using blades, but he will use a gun if he has to. So, like, even in the first one, he was getting the shit kicked out of him, and then he just pulls out the gun. And in this, I think he just wanted to kill the mom quicker, so he just did it. And then, I think the little pale girl poses because they kidnap the boy, because Art kidnaps the boy and sends her a message, I think, from the boy's phone, making it think it's him. Then they basically tells her to meet him at this like abandoned amusement park, and she has her friend Brooke drop her off. After this, Brooke and her boyfriend get killed pretty brutally. This is where the guy, he gets stabbed in the dick repeatedly. And I didn't see this criticism until today, but I want to rant on it. The weirdos who say this movie's misogynistic, in the first one, because I guess there are very over-the-top kills on women, which is bullshit. Because, yeah, guys didn't get violently killed. But I guess because, I've seen the argument, the kills are drawn out for the women, but the men, it's quick. I'm like, no. The guy I'm talking about did not die quickly. He got stabbed in the nuts repeatedly, and he felt he got stabbed in the dick a couple of times, and he was still alive. Yeah, there weren't like the big elaborate kill like in the first one, but it's this weird mentality now where you can't kill women or do anything to women in film or in anything because it's fucked up. It's Art's a bad guy. Why can't we let bad guy do bad guy things? And Art does kill men, by the way. I mean, he pretty much. Even the first guy, he doesn't just immediately kill him quickly. He doesn't just like stab him quick. And not every girl he like drags out killed. Some of them he just killed pretty quick. In the first one too, like the lady, seemed like he killed her pretty quick. Because not long, Vicky found her with the skin. Wearing that cat lady's skin. So he killed her, I felt like, relatively quickly. And just skinned her after. So this idea he's only killing the men quick is bullshit. And it's just stop policing. Can't we just stop policing who gets killed in movies? That shit's weird to me. You killed a black person. You killed a woman. Terrible. It's a horror film. The killers kill everybody. And Art's a bad guy. I don't know. Maybe I just feel like you gotta let bad guys do bad guy things. But anyway, um, I had a problem, like I said, with the pacing. Some of the kid actor was awful. I'm just gonna say it. I think he was probably the weakest part of the movie in terms of actor, besides the mom, because all she was just there to be drunk. Like, let's be real. That's all her character was in this movie, is to be drunk. Like, she didn't really have a character besides that. Like, you know, like I said, Sienna is probably the best character in the film, and the act on I think it is Lavera. I am remembering. I remember right. I think she was good. Like, in terms of actress, she was actually good. Her friend, both of them were okay too. Like I said, the acting mostly, besides the fucking kid, he's like the only actor I really thought was bad. Everyone else is fine. So I'm just gonna jump ahead where we get the chase scene because she finds he ends up killing Brooke by smashing her head in with I think it's a hammer with like blades on it, spikes on it, or something like that. He then chases Sienna, seemingly kills her, because I think he does kill her brother Jonathan, or is about to, and then she ends up coming back alive because the sword brings her back, because I guess it's some kind of magic into it, and then ends up seemingly killing Art, but then Vicky gives birth to Art's head again, so I'm assuming the implication is that Art, I'm assuming, is some kind of supernatural, and I don't know if it's something like Deadpool where he can grow his body back. So I don't know if it's something like that. We'll find out. Terrifier 3. So, but Terrifier 2 is fun, man. It's dumb fun for me. It's a nice throwback. The only thing I just wish that had a little bit of more of a throwback soundtrack. Hopefully, maybe the third one will. I think that's the only thing I felt like I needed. But other than that, I thought the movie was fun. It did what it was supposed to do. It's a like probably what I'm gonna title this review, bloody good time. It really is. It's a bloody good time. I can understand if you don't like a lot of the gore. That's the only thing. As much as I love this franchise, I feel like it's the one franchise that it is gonna be harder to show normies, because you can show normies the Scream films. I feel like largely those first few Nightmare on Elm Street films, normies, because they're not gory. Even the first Halloween. Even Halloween 2, which ups the blood a bit more, isn't gory. So, I feel like at least they're easy to show normies, even though they are slashers, but they're not overly gory like this one is. I think there are just some people who can't handle, like, the level of gore that's in this. Like, there are even people who, can handle most gore, but even, Terrifier is just excessive gore, and it's not. Some people feel like it's just not done in a good way. So I can understand. That's the only thing I feel like largely holds this franchise back, but I'm okay with that. I don't inherently have a problem with some movies just wanting to keep to a niche audience. There's nothing wrong with that. Terrifier is made for the people who have fun with these kind of slashers. Terrifier is not going to be for everybody. So I'm not expecting the third one to do gangbusters, to be honest. I think it will do probably as much as the second one did, which was an out of nowhere hit. But I think that was by largely that horror fandom who likes these type of movies and they can handle that type of gore. These movies aren't going to be for normies. It's even like the franchise like Halloween and Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, all the big tentpole slasher franchises. There's an element of those that are definitely there. You want to try to get some casuals. I don't think Terrifier is that. I think Terrifier is for people who like this film. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think every franchise needs to be giant, because, it doesn't have to be. This is made for, this is another one of those it is what it is films. And that's definitely, it knows what it fucking is. It knows it's just a dumb fun slasher, and that's all it tries to be. It doesn't try to be anything more than that. In the second one, they do try to give you a little bit of lore and background and a bit more of an elite character instead of, because like I said, the first one is a concept Because, like I said, there's no real plot in the first movie for me, fucking real. So in this one, they definitely try to give you a plot. I just think trim the movie down a bit, down to maybe hour and 50, hour and a half, honestly. I really think you did an hour and a half, hour 40. I don't really think it needed to be longer than that. It definitely did not need to be over 2 hours. Because I do think there's just some scenes that just felt filler for sure. I wasn't bored or anything, but that wasn't a problem. I just felt like there was just some scenes for sure, like structuring wise of the movie, that you could have easily cut down and just for pacing sake. But other than that, I had fun with it. Art's great. He's a great slasher. He's gonna eventually be up there with like the legends. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because it's nice to have like a somewhat of a new generation slasher. You know, we've all been wanting that, and we finally have one with Art the Clown. You know, and I definitely can't wait to see where 3 goes. And 3's looking really good. I'm hearing a lot of good things about it. That is basically an extension of this one. It's just a dumb, fun slasher where you see some fucked up kills, and that's all I need, you know? So it comes out this coming Friday, so I'll be definitely watching that. I don't know if I'm seeing it opening night. I gotta see, but I definitely want to watch it. I definitely plan on watching it. So out of 10, like I said, I give this one an 8.5 as a slasher. Objectively, realistically, I probably should give it more like a 7, but I think I just very much had fun with it. It is a fun time. It's definitely going to be a Halloween tradition like the OG Halloween, at least the second one. And in a way, you kind of can watch this one without watching the first one. If you think the first one is not, like, you watch a bit of the first one, you're like, I don't need to watch more, I would just say go to the second one, and you get pretty much a recap of the first movie anyway. Killed a bunch of people in the first movie. That's really all it is anyway, so you're not missing much in that sense. This one actually adds a character. You have a character who you follow, and she's decent enough. Like I said, she's no Nancy Thompson, no Sidney Prescott, no Laurie Strode, but she is good. You know, I think I had fun with her character. Definitely interested to see what happens in 3, because she does return for Terrifier 3. So that's really all I got to say about that. Tomorrow, gonna be reviewing The Substance tomorrow. The plan is tomorrow afternoon at the latest, and tomorrow in the evening, I'm gonna try to see if I can find a screenwrite article to roast. But it depends if I can find one. If I can't, then we're just gonna do The Substance, and then plan is so far is Monday gonna be doing Killer's Game. Tuesday we're gonna be doing The Dark Knight. Wednesday gonna be doing Pure Luck. Finally, I forgot to do it because I was doing the Dynamite review for we were watching Dynamite for Pin Down, so that's why we didn't end up doing it. Thursday, gonna figure out what to review. Probably gonna find some slasher to review, and then Friday. As of now, I'm hoping to be watching Terrifier 3 that day. So then the plan is, if I do watch it that day, I do want to review it on Friday. So opening night, and then we'll figure out what I got going on next weekend. But that's relatively what I got going on. I'll figure out what to do on Thursday. But at least I got relatively most of what I got going on. So anyways, Terrifier 3 is pretty fun. 2, sorry. Terrifier 2 is pretty fun. It's a fun sequel, so I definitely recommend it if you like slashers and stuff like that. So I'm going to get ready to call it here. talking to y'all tomorrow. Subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. We just reviewed SmackDown last night, and we did a predictions video for Bad Blood, which was actually really good. We watched it a bit earlier today. Don't know yet if we're gonna do a stream next Saturday, because we do have a shitty AEW pay-per-view we have to watch next Saturday. So I don't know yet if we're gonna do a stream. I'll keep y'all updated, but anyways, subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. I'll talk to y'all later. Terrifier 2 is pretty great. Peace.